Awesome. When we're live. Okay, everybody, welcome to your FLT call. We're on episode 61. I've got a couple of new faces, a couple of regular faces as well. We started, FLT began as a way to bridge these worlds between people that have got no idea what's going on with crypto, with sovereign finance, the ability to own your own money as this whole financial system changes around the world along with everything else. And it's mine and Richard's belief that it really is the greatest time where you can make a huge significant change in your life and then do something with that. And so crypto is something which we really want to help to provide education in, and just help people kind of just move along our pathway. And so predominantly, a lot of the people in the FLT group have never done it before. We've got a few people that have done plenty of it. And somewhere in amongst all that, we're just greasing the wheels to allow conversations to flow between everybody. So a welcome from myself and from Richard. And before we crack on though, I just want to see, we've got at least Jerry. I think this is your first call. Am I right? Second call. Okay, cool. Beth, first call?
Yes, my first call, yeah.
Super. And Clive, I'm going to guess it's your first call as well. I don't recognize the last name, but you may have been on another one.
I have. I've been on my third.
Fantastic. Oh, I think I recognize it. Do you normally have a background with a virtual background?
Yeah, that's me. I'm just trying to work it out before yeah.
No worries. Okay, so what I would like to do, so for those that are new, we keep these pretty open, pretty fluid, especially this call. This is an open forum call. We can go wherever it goes, which is how we used to do the original ones. Other than that, we do try to have topics to give us a golden thread per call, but there've been quite a lot of new people that have joined. So it's nice sometimes to just open the space up. So for anyone that is new, you're welcome to keep your cameras on or off. You're welcome to keep your mics on or off. All that we ask is that you're aware of your audible environment and can manage that. And if it gets a bit too loud or too repetitive of a noise, myself or Richard might just put a mute on it just to help everyone else understand. And I apologize if you hear a lot in my background. There are builders working, and I'm working on them giving me a tiny little window of space on these times once a week, but it's a work in progress. So I'll try to keep the background noise to a minimum as well. So for the new people, it helps myself and Richard to just get a bit of an understanding of where you're at. That way we just have a general idea as we're talking to you and having a conversation. So if you can just do like a 60-second summary of like where you are on whatever you see your crypto journey to be, whether that's learning to spell crypto all the way to being a 10-year OG. So I'm going to go in the order that we're on screen. Jerry, would you mind giving me a bit of a summary, just because I don't remember yourself from the last call that you were on. I apologize for that, but maybe you didn't share. I don't know. Just going to unmute you. Just 1 second. You're muted.
Mute.
Go for it.
How's that? It was the call before last, but this is the first time I've had my camera on. I've been in crypto since 2017. So I've managed to get in and out and not really reap the rewards of that. I didn't sell when I should have. I got in just before. I got in July when Bitcoin was 2,200. By December, it was 20 grand. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what was happening. And I wrote it all the way down. And I'm one of the people they call diamond hands, right? I've got a pile of Verge. I've got a huge pile of Sia coin. I've got a huge pile of Pundi X, all back from back in the day, right? So I'm almost accidentally getting rich on those that used to be called S coins. But in the meantime, I have done a little bit more investing. My portfolio looks like Coin Market Cap. It's embarrassing. I've got to hone it down. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, brilliant, Jerry. Thank you very much. Diamond hands. I love that. I think you might be our first true diamond hander as well. So at least you can win that accolade. If there was a gold star for it right now, you probably might even beat Richard for it. I don't know. obviously, you can have
Ben's pretty good as well.
Oh, is he?
Today, he's the same. He's got lots of coins. He doesn't remember the names of.
Cool. I'm just going to take some notes as well because there's a few little diamonds in there I want to cover. Diamond hands for people listening. Well, actually, go on. How would you explain diamond hands? Because that might not have made a lot of sense. Whilst I'm just typing up some notes.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, go on. Give us a 20-second. What's a diamond hand?
People know what hodl means. It means hold on for dear life. Somebody misspelled hold, and hodl became a thing. But there's one thing to hodl when everybody's selling and the price is going up, and then everybody's, it's one thing to hodl through a dip or to hodl through something and to hold on, but to hold on for years and years, like I did, people started calling, I guess, us old timers. I called myself OG the last time and no one knew what that meant. But somebody that's been around for at least a bull run or so, if you're still holding since then, I think in the last 6 months, people have given the name diamond hands to those of us that still have old bags, right?
Cool. So, brilliant. I like that. Thank you very much. Cheers, Jerry, for joining us. I'm just going to move across to Beth. Give us your 60-second summary, Maddie, on where you're at.
Hi, everyone. So I'd pretty much say I'm really at the beginning of my sort of crypto journey. Sort of downloaded one of the profiles, on Coinbase back in December. Just sort of had a look what it was about, and then just sort of put it to the back of my mind up until now. I've seen a lot, obviously, on social media, people going on. So I thought, I need to sort of have a look, get more knowledgeable before I start seriously investing.
Always a good thing to be. If you can, understand what you're investing in all the time. Thank you very much, Beth. And I'm going to come down to John, all those to Rath. Omar, are you with us? Can you hear us okay? Yes, okay. If you're on message only, that's cool. But just give us a 60-second summary and I'll read it out for people of just where you're at on your crypto journey. Just gives us a bit of an idea, that's all. And because you were later in, feel free at any point within FLT, you've got a question, put your hand up, click the button to put your hand up, type in the group. This is an open session for everybody. To jog my memory and to help Richard, because he wasn't on the last call, and to a couple of other people as well. We've got people on this call that range from, that started off absolute newbies. I know Alan, who's with us when he first began one of the early FLT calls, he'd never done anything. And he's now, at least within the FLT group, like a mini OG within there. Last week we covered OG. I thought it meant old guy. Richard, because he's way more down with the kids than me. It's original gangster. Yeah. The difference is he wears baseball caps. I don't. So I just look at it and think, well, I know it's about old things. So if you're an original gangster, if you're an OG in crypto, it just means you've been there, you've taken a few hits. So we've got people that are all through the spectrum on here. To give Richard a bit of insight, so you've got Louise Wilson and Chris Wilson, brother and sister. You can tell from Chris's background where his geograph and allegiance lie. They're new on their journey, and they came from Andy sharing in one of our groups the other week. We've got Josh, who has a bit of a portfolio, has been using Coinbase. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, with this. Holds a couple of coins and is just, at that stage of looking at it further. You've got Tirath, who had all of his portfolio and funds in stock, or predominantly in stock at least, and has started to shift all of that over to crypto, uses Binance, uses Coinbase. Clive, who definitely has shared. Clive, can you give me a bit of a summary as well? You do have some bits in crypto, don't you? But you're mainly property.
I'm property. No, I don't have any crypto yet. I should have invested way back when it first started, and I saw it and I thought,
that was it.
Yeah, I should have done it then. I'd have been a billionaire now like the rest of them, but didn't. So I'm really a newbie, but I've known about it for a decade. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm one of those people.
They do say there's no time like the present.
Definitely not.
Yep, the best time was 10 years ago. Second best time today.
Right now, yeah. What's prevented you to this point doing that? I mean, you might have already answered that, but just to benefit anyone else.
When I first saw it, it was quite difficult to do. I think I wasn't that. I was doing lots of other things, so I didn't have the time or the patience to find out how to actually get into it. I seem to be the only one that really knew anything about it when I first saw it, and now it's a lot easier. So now's a good time. Maybe too easy. Who knows?
Yeah. Good, thanks.
Okay, cool. So I just want to check. So we have Omar with us, who's on chat only at the minute. He's from Berlin, software developer, entrepreneur, and sound artist. Interested in crypto, but wants to build a marketplace. It's definitely, we have, me and Richard share an old mentor who used to say, when there's a gold rush, don't be the person digging for gold, be the person selling shovels. So building a marketplace in crypto is a strong route to take, not for the faint-hearted, I'm sure. But welcome anyway, Omar. We hope that you can get something from this group, get some insights. Temi Top, or if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, there we are. Good evening. I know last time on the call we weren't able to speak. I just wanted to make sure you can hear us. It looks like you can.
Yes, I can. Good evening.
Super duper. Do you wish to share 60 seconds on where you're at on your journey, just to give us a bit of an insight?
Really? Okay. My name is Temi. I am a midwife
Temi.
by profession and a nurse. I live in the UK. And I'm just trying to look for new opportunities, really. Like what was just shared, you've been hearing about crypto, but it looks like it sounded like it was like a cult world that nobody can get into. But now it sounds like it's becoming easier. So only in the last few weeks or so that I'm trying to understand. So very basic understanding, really.
It's cool. Very basic is okay, especially for this call. We can answer whatever needs to be answered. Thank you very much. Where are you calling in from?
Myself, London.
London. Okay, super. All right, brilliant. Thank you very much. Alima, can you hear us? Do you wish to talk, or do you want to share on a message? Same for Carmen as well. There we go, Alima.
Hi everyone, my name is Alima Olatunde. I'm really, really new. So when I say really, really new, I just got my foot through the door a few weeks ago, and I was invited by my sister, Temi, that just spoke just now, and I am based in London. So we're just trying to find out what we can do and how we can go about the old crypto world and understand the basic that we would need to before jumping into the big bag of understanding all the currency, basically.
Super. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Alima. Carmen. That's cool. If you don't want to share, if you can hear us, Carmen, if you can put your a bit of a blurb in the chat, that would be awesome. Thanks, Letitia, for joining as well. This is going to feel like I'm picking on you, Lisa, because you've literally just come in on the back end of sharing. But if you are comfortable giving us 60 seconds on just where you're at on your journey before we kick off with questions and things, that would be awesome. But don't feel you have to either. Some people don't. Cool. Okay, right.
Sorry,
so
me or somebody else? Sorry.
No, I'm speaking. Sorry, I'm aware. I'm giving a bit of a round robin for people that are new, Letitia. So I just Lisa had come in then, so just asking her. Okay, everybody. So this gives everyone a bit of an insight. So you can see here, you're not alone if you're new at all. It would probably put myself, Richard, and Jerry as the standing OGs on this call. Although Jerry, you're more than welcome to ask questions, but at the same time, it's never a me show or a Richard show. It's whoever can answer questions is the way that we look at things. So before we kick it off, because I forgot on the last one, I'm going to take a photo. So I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to either turn your cameras off or to turn your cameras on, to give yourself looking nice and presentable. I'm going to count down from 5, from 4, from 3, 2, 1. Auto tick. Fantastic. So we're on our FLT. This is our 61st, I think I said, show. It's a really open call. We're now going to enter into it, see where things take us to. Rather than me and Richard kicking things off, is there any open question that someone's got? That can be anything you want. First question is always the hardest question for someone to start. We have a question from Clive. Go for it, Clive. You're on mute.
Mute, Clive, sorry.
There we go. There we go. Normally you can press the space bar, but it didn't seem to be working now for some reason. I'd like to start like a dummy portfolio, just for a little see how these things work. And I was wondering how you go about that.
I have never. I'm aware of them with stocks, FX.
If you wanted, do you mean you want to put a portfolio together and see how it might perform based on what you bought? Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
I'm guessing something like Blockfolio would probably work, Dan. You could create.
I was just going to suggest that.
Yeah, you could create. It's an app you can download called Blockfolio, Folio.
Yeah, Blockfolio.
Yeah, and you can put in whatever cryptos you want, and you can also put in your, so if you bought today at a certain point, I think you can put in your time that you bought, so you know exactly what price you fixed at, and then you can look at that, go up and down as much as you want over however long you want to.
Yeah.
I'm also going to throw in there as well. Where to do demo accounts. There's also, I find Blockfolio when you're adding transactions can be a little bit clunky because it's not an exchange, it's a portfolio site. But it will give you one thing, which is an overall performance of coins. So if you wanted to look at how well something's done, you could. But I've also just put a link to a page that someone's already created, which has on it 10 traditional exchange sites that offer demo accounts, where you'd start with 10 grand. The difference is that Blockfolio is also a tracking tool, so it might give you more analytics than these sites will. But it's pretty much all the ones that offer stocks that definitely do demo accounts. They're also the ones that are offering Bitcoin and cryptocurrency demo accounts.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. Anyone else? Well, where are we going to next?
Can I make a point more than a question?
Sure.
And, something that comes from listening to, the comment that was just made about dummy accounts and a couple of people willing to do a lot of research into this before they invest. I wonder how much people knew about any of their precious metals they may own, or how deeply they invested their mutual funds that they bought into, or any other investments, how much real understanding of the real estate market do people have before they bought a condo, all that kind of stuff. And, I would want you started this by saying this is an opportunity of a lifetime, right? This moment from now to the end of the year is equal to secretaries that own Microsoft stock becoming millionaires, right? Like it's that time period, except it's in a bull run of crypto. So anything can happen in the next few months. I would hate for people new to crypto to get overwhelmed with analysis so that they don't buy something. I think the very first thing anybody should learn is how to get their money into the crypto environment and how to buy something today, right? It doesn't matter what it is. If it's in the top 25, get on an exchange, get an account. The first thing you should learn is how to sign up to an exchange. Assume you're going to have to give up some of your information. This is a taxable event, you're going to have to show a passport or some kind of ID. Learn how to do that. Get your money on an exchange and buy something. Don't be overwhelmed that you don't understand crypto. You probably don't understand like a lot of your index funds or mutual funds, or exactly how stocks interplay with company valuations, all that stuff, but you still know you need to invest, right? Money supply is unlimited and is being diluted by the month. Crypto is capped. It's fixed. A lot of the times, all the denominations are fixed. There's only 21 million Bitcoin, right? The world's going crazy for crypto. You think 21 million Bitcoin is going to satisfy people? And likewise down the line, I think Digibyte is 21 billion. There's some kind of correlation like that. And Digibyte right now is, I don't know how many times away from its all-time high. Like it's ready to. Like there's so many things that are ready to go that are in the top 25. You could call them blue chip stocks, relatively safe investments in the crypto world, equal to anything you'd get in the real world. And I just hate to see a lot of people paralyzed by trying to understand. It could take years. I don't understand all of crypto yet, but there's so much taking off in the really safe realm of crypto. Dash, Digibyte, Litecoin, Ethereum, like these are all, foundational cryptos that have over their blockchains are over 5 years long. XRP, EOS, there's so many within the top 25 that, and then I'll end my point, sorry. Just don't get overwhelmed by the fact that this is a new technology. Google Michael Saylor. Look at what Elon's doing. Elon's accepting Bitcoin for Teslas now, and he's telling the world he's not going to convert that Bitcoin into fiat. He's going to keep it as Bitcoin, right? Institutions like Grayscale, Fidelity, they're all opening They're all opening crypto exchanges and crypto investing and crypto indexes. It's real. It's all happening now. The thing you should, and still, if you're on this call, you're, part of the tail end of the early adopters, right? Like mass adoption hasn't even happened yet. We're not even begun. So count yourself lucky, get on an exchange, get your money in there and buy something, If you've
May
got
I say something?
Yeah,
Okay,
go on,
Jerry.
Letitia. Go on.
Yeah, well, Jerry, I feel this would be a good time to let everyone know that Daniel and I are running a Get Started with Crypto call on April the 9th at 1 p.m. EST. I hope that's okay that I mentioned that in your group, Daniel. This was something that
A little bit late now.
Well, it's not, well, I don't know how many people on the call are still, they haven't gotten their first crypto yet. So exactly what Jerry was saying, so what we're gonna do on this call is pretty much exactly what Jerry said. We're gonna help people. Daniel is gonna be our official guest speaker. I'm gonna be interviewing him, but essentially the idea is to take people from having zero crypto to owning some crypto, then and there, getting people started, because too many people have been sitting on the fence for too long. Jerry and I previously tried to do a call like this, and you know what? Maybe we were too early, Jerry. I mean, maybe I know some people in my network took us up on the offer, and one guy's net worth went from negative 60,000 to like 250 or something like that. So he's very happy he listened, and he got in when he got in. But yeah, I'll post the link to the call, and you guys are welcome to sign up. Anybody who is ready to stop sitting on the fence and really wants to get started, Daniel will guide you. We're going to take you by the hand. Only 30 people on the live call, so we already have a few people signed up. Everybody else can still get access to the recording. But the idea is exactly that. We want to get people off the fence and into the space as soon as possible. Okay.
Okay, so brilliant. Thank you for that, Letitia. I think I'm just going to mute you. I've got a lot of feedback on there. There we go. Just because of these calls, I try not to mix thing that's a paid for course. So these calls will always remain free and people can come on them. And that's why I was hesitant then for just a moment, Letitia. They're just different spaces. But if anyone is interested, Letitia can post the link to that, of course, to just put some more clarity and stuff around what Jerry's saying there. And we do on all of our calls, Jerry, we help people kind of move forward as quickly as they can, not letting perfection get in the way of productivity. But stick with things, as Richard's put in the comments there, start with the really top coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Saying the top 25 from our view still contains a lot of speculation just because something is all the way up there. And some people on these calls, whatever they're going to put into crypto, even though you should be willing to lose what you're going to put in, not everyone has that view all the time. And so just sticking with things that really are tried and tested in that top bit. And we usually just say, to begin with, Bitcoin and Ethereum, because one of the questions that Temi says, which is like, how do you decide? And there's 6,500 coins out there. And every time saying like the top 100 is obviously stronger than the rest. The top 50 stronger than the rest. Top 25 stronger than the rest. So if you just start with the beginning ones, and like Jerry says, you can get over that first line, put $100 in, put $200 in, something like that, because there is no better experience than personal experience. So Clive, you've got a couple of answers to that question there. Some things you might not necessarily ask for, but they're all incredibly valid points. I hope that is useful. No questions in here. Almost saying, how do you feel about index funds? Do you mean index funds that are related to grouping together, like in traditional finance? Because I'm not too sure that there are many. There aren't any crypto coins that I know about that relate to index funds. Crypto 20, not aware about Crypto 20. I'm assuming that's going to be on a traditional finance platform. Grayscale as index funds. Yeah, so I think when you start looking at things like index funds, for people that are new on here, that's when you have a price for something that's based on a selection of things. Like you can bet on the whole like emerging markets and tech industry. That's more in a traditional setting. I think we'll kind of keep that to the side just for this cause. A lot of people are kind of looking at it from a crypto perspective. But if you've got fiat money and you want exposure to crypto and you can see an index fund, it can be a safe way to ride that way up. But that's purely going to be about profit. You're not really investing into the crypto eco space. And I think that's something that I'm passionate about. I know Richard is. Jerry, I'm going to totally guess that you are. That's when you're really putting your money into something that's building part of the future that we're moving into. Whereas an index fund wouldn't necessarily do that. Cool. So there's a lot of people on here that are really, really new. I'm just kind of looking on Louise and Chris. You've been tinkering into this a little bit yourselves, wanting to just build that that understanding. And I know as well on here, you've obviously got Beth, and I think, Beth and Alima. Alima, you're invited from Temi. So I'm just curious I'd love to ask Louise and Chris first, like from your guys, from doing your research and kind of starting to really seriously look at putting some funds into it. What would you say your current blocker is on making that next step? Where are you at since we even had the call a couple of weeks ago? Either of you are welcome to answer. I'm sure you're in similar spaces.
On Saturday, I put my first £100 into Binance. Stayed safe with Bitcoin for now. Doing a bit of research over the weekend, definitely starting to see how it's like the market cap of Bitcoin in comparison to gold. It's like still got a long way to grow. I see from that how it's still, as Jerry said, in the early adopter stage at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's understanding everyone that thinks they're too early. Everyone always thinks they missed the boat, whatever it is, because by the time someone comes to talk to you, you think it's too late. And I think on the other calls, when we're looking at percentage of people on the planet that even have a Bitcoin wallet, it's less than 0.5%. Like I always refer to people as like, you haven't missed the boat. The boat's still being built in the harbor. It's not even kind of been released out into the ocean yet. Like we're just at that stage where enough people are kind of getting around and maybe starting to move the boat. It is super early. But at the same time, don't let that mean, oh, well, I've got tons of time, because like Jerry said earlier, we are in a space right now this year where the tide is rising. All boats are lifting. Some of them have got holes in. And when we get to the top, they might still sink, but that tide is going up and it is taking everything with it. And that has I say that more to have a calmness, not to make people rush, because the first rule of crypto we don't FOMO in. And FOMO is that fear of missing out. So you make sure you're understanding and you're calm about those things, because when we start to rush, that's when we make a few mistakes. So now that you've put your first bit in, Chris, what is next for you? Would it be a higher amount of investment into Bitcoin, or are you just still tinkering with it, or where are you at?
To be honest, like to keep me portfolio balanced between like stocks, ETFs. High risk, I allocate about 5%. So
Crypto.
probably more than 4. Yeah, basically crypto growth stocks. So I do have some shares in Boohoo. I mean, they're in the green at the moment. So I've weighed up actually selling them, putting that into crypto instead.
So your view, and this is really good for other people on the call. So you are, and I'm just going to try and paraphrase and repeat back what you've said there. You have a portfolio, and that portfolio from your perspective is diversified into things that are not correlated to one another, or not as much correlated. You've got some stocks. Did you say you had some metals?
It's no, sorry. I've got ETFs, stocks,
ETFs,
and obviously a little bit of crypto. I want to like do my asset allocation to suit my risk capacity, basically, right across the board.
Mm. So but from your perspective, you put crypto in the high risk category, yeah?
Yeah, I think out of cash flow profit asset, I'd put it in the asset category.
That's cool. So that's good for other people to know that are new here. I had a call with someone today who is looking for investment and looking where to put their funds and their money. And they have a similar view to you. They have a pot of money and they're looking to take some of that and put that into crypto. And for them, that's high risk. I have another person who last week has a pot of money, considers crypto low risk, considers crypto totally cool, but considers a portion of crypto, let's just say your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, a couple of others, as low risk, sliding all the way to high risk. And so it's good for anyone that's new on this call. Neither view is right or wrong. If I had a traditional finance person sat next to me, absolutely, they would say that crypto is high risk, 5% maximum. And you could have a more, I don't know what label I'd even use to describe them, but someone over here, me, and probably even Jerry and Richard to a point, who sees crypto as risky, all things of risk, but is much more willing to put a higher percentage of their wealth into it, or of their investment, because they are probably, if I'm honest, and this is my view, they understand where crypto fits into the world and how big this is. This is like seeing the internet come around. I can't reiterate that enough. When the internet first came around, we had no idea how much the internet was going to change things, because before the internet, there was just libraries and Tania Britannica, and what was it called? Encarta on a CD, and you would put the CD into your computer, and that was a wealth of information on a CD. And if you didn't have access to that, you didn't have access to information, teletext. So the internet decentralized and revolutionized information, and crypto will do the same thing for many things. It will absorb the internet. And I think this is sometimes the difference I see. When I speak to people in traditional finance, they are very much a believer in traditional finance and just see crypto as this emerging thing that doesn't have a huge track record. It's got, 10 years of inception and 5 years of real growth, of real impact on the market, and therefore it's deemed risky. And dependent on how you want to approach this world will depend on whether you are more over here and you take the view that Chris has got, whereby I've got this portfolio and I allocate a certain percentage, or whether you sit over here and you choose to see it differently, and it is a choice, and therefore we'll put more money in. Both are completely right, just so long as you understand your own process and where you're coming at. So would that be a fair summary of your view, Chris, then, of looking at things? You kind of see it as a constant global portfolio of things, and crypto just takes a small part of that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Awesome. So let's just move across as well. If anyone's got any questions, they're welcome to throw them in at any point. Omar asks a question. What's your guide when you trade? Is it technical analysis? Richard, I'd love you really kind of drilled this home for me when we first started speaking a long time ago. What's your view when it comes to trading and technical analysis and holding and investing?
I think when people get involved early on in crypto, the tendency for people is they think that the best way to make money is by trading, and you can get very, very excited by the opportunities that you can perceive there. But I think, and I was exactly the same, you know, I was convinced that I needed to sort of trade to sort of make money in crypto. The reality is, I think, unless you want to turn that into your full-time job, then it's such a volatile market, you can lose very, very quickly. And the statistics are something like, you know, 9 out of 10 traders never make money. Or certainly if you bought and become diamond hands like Jerry, or any of us that sort of believe in Bitcoin, once you've got that belief in Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies, that you actually win over time by buying and holding, or dollar cost averaging, which is basically just buying at the same time every week in the same amount, regardless of whether the market's up or down. And the other thing to consider with trading, obviously, is that you have to be aware of the tax perspective of it. Every time you trade, you're creating a taxable event, basically. So I think for anyone beginning, I would just be investing to start with, and go from there. Really, you can look at trading, and a technical analysis, 100%. If you did want to trade, is definitely the way to go with it. You can use all sorts of different tools for that. Some things like TradingView, all the different you know, analyses on all the different exchanges. But I don't know what your position is, Omar. I can't recall if you said you were starting out or not, or where you were with it. But if you were going to trade, technical analysis would definitely be the way to go. I did find something earlier, actually, and I've only just started looking at it. I'll see if I can dig it out, Dan, but and I'll share my screen if I can find it. It's just a sort of a tool for sort of going a little bit beyond dollar cost averaging to give people a bit more of confidence about when to buy. It is a little bit technical, but it's quite good, actually. So Omar says he started trading in 2013 on and off. So yeah, well, you must have been at it for a long time then. So it'd be interesting to know, I guess, if how you've done over that time. If you want to share.
Yeah. Are you cool to share, Omar, or you just prefer to just stay in chat? It's cool either way. Cool. Wait till he gets there, till we get a response in chat. I think, oh, he doesn't have a mic. I think one thing that, when me and Richard spoke about this with kind of orchestrating this FLT group and having a direction with it, and it's that there's a duty of care and responsibility once you start to pull together a community of people. Whilst we never want it to be the Richard and Daniel show, it's how do you create cohesion and allow all these different voices, but at the same time not allow for we would never want someone to go back and go, well, you told us X, Y, Z, and that's caused a problem. So we always err on the side of caution. And I think that there is a misconception that trading, buying and selling, buy, sells, that you'll make money. And the reality is that most people don't. And so we focus on what can someone do as a human being to begin to gain some ownership of their money, to move it out of fiat, which is losing its ability to have purchasing power literally every day. It's just being diluted and diluted, and move people into another space. And so that's why we don't really advocate or push trading, just purely because, sorry about that, Omar, there we go, just purely because it's it can be fraught with all sorts of challenges. So I put that in there because there's some people that are like, ooh, should I hold or should I trade? So it's just good to have that awareness of the difference of them. Omar, do you want to share a little bit more now? Are you on?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I just have a bit of a tricky setup here. And yeah, I just joined listening. It's nice to hear all of you.
Okay, no worries. And do you want to just, as do you want to, if it's easier, just comment in every now and again. Sometimes it's easier to just listen than be sharing all the time. Cool. Okay, so I want to come, Beth, if you don't mind, if you're still there with us as a person who's totally new. Same sort of question to yourself that we asked Louise and Chris, and also that Clive was asking earlier, like what would be the thing at the minute that's preventing you from, like Jerry said, just kind of taking that first action, getting set up, putting $50 in 50 quid and getting going? What would you say it would be?
Well, I have actually sort of put, like, you know, not a large amount of money in, as you said, sort of through that FOMO kind of thing of keep reading a lot, you know, with the PayPal news, and keep seeing the prices of Bitcoin, Ethereum going up. So yeah, they were the two that I've sort of just put not obviously a huge amount of money in. But yeah, see, sort of just watching the prices go up daily and thinking, oh God, I'm gonna miss the boat here if I don't. So now I'm just sort of cementing more knowledge before I sort of either put more money in or delve into other crypto coins.
Okay, cool. And I think then it would probably be good, and this is good for everyone. So Jerry's story earlier, and that's the same as Richard's story, this idea of holding on. And holding is a skill. It really is, because most people, when they see a bit of uncertainty in the market, will sell. And we call that shaking the weak hands from the tree. So holding is definitely a skill to learn. And selling to actually take profit is a skill. And for me, that's definitely one of the skills I struggle the most with. I've recently gone through a process where we were exiting some of our portfolio, and I, even though I was totally going to, there's no way by the end of the day I wasn't doing it, but the actual process of going and doing it was far more, not just physically exhausting, and like we had coins all over the place, different exchanges, just the actual physical process of selling, but also internally, the inner monologue I was having was interesting. But I absolutely knew I was selling by the end of the day. So it's like I used to skydive, and when you jump in, when that door opens, there wasn't a time it opened where my stomach didn't turn, where the little voice comes in. But I absolutely knew I wasn't landing in the airplane. I'm going out the door. So by process of elimination, I was going to sell. But I share it because I want everyone here, if you are, whether you're new or whether you're been invested for a while and you haven't sold, to really think about it. And we teach on, about 10 calls ago, we really went through a process of off-ramping. That's the term we call it. So when we're taking your money out, and I say to people, practice off-ramping. Actually take $10 worth of Bitcoin or whatever, take a small amount, sell it into a stable coin, transfer it to a fiat gateway, a site that will allow to hold pounds or dollars, and actually send it to your bank account. See it land in your bank account, because then when you need to actually sell, you're not going, oh, I've never done that before. So it's a really good practice to have. I don't know if anyone wants to, Richard or Jerry, if you want to put any 2 penneth on top of that.
Well, it sure is true. It's a skill to sell.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually heard of brokers. I've got them written down here somewhere that I may look into as well. That you know, rather than even going through the exchange route, just, you know, it's almost like an over-the-counter situation where you can give them bulk and they can sell it. You know, to me, sometimes going onto the exchange. I'm a non-trader. I buy, then I buy a little bit more. When it goes down, I buy more. Sometimes when it goes up, I buy more. You know, but I don't. I've lost out on a lot of money because I'm not a trader. There are people who look at price on a monthly time frame, and in doing so can really see ahead of themselves and see when the downtrends are going to happen. People that look on daily and hourly price fluctuations can get messed up in a hurry. So people that are able to sell when the price goes up and then buy back in when price goes down may have twice as much in their asset pile that I do, because all I do is hold. I don't sell, and I'm waiting for a lot of coins to reach their all-time high, and I've got an allotment I want to sell. And that gets down to the skill, trying to plan when you're going to sell. And I'd question whether it was difficult for you because you get attached to your coins. Sometimes there's, because we know these coins are going to change the world. This is, people have, I've read people compare blockchain to the invention of calculus in as much as how it's going to affect society, and that's a big, that's a big change. Yeah. So, we know there's a lot of good in crypto, and maybe that makes us want to hold it, but we have to, especially for people, getting in early, getting in now, treat these as vehicles to, as investment vehicles, not as your new buddy, because it'll be a lot easier to sell.
So I want to say on that point there is, I know full well there are some people on this call who will be moving into crypto because of its, let's say, investment value. And there's some people on this call that are moving into crypto because they want to put their money somewhere where it's going to work for them. And you should always be doing that. But at the same time, very high up, maybe even higher than that, is impact. What's this money going to do? I can't just put my money into something that's going to make a return. So for the people on this call, like, make a decision within yourself. What are my values for when I'm investing, when I'm putting that money in? And again, look, there is no such thing as good and bad and right and wrong anyway. There's just the things you prescribe to it. But be really clear on those, because that really does affect how you get into crypto. And when Jerry said then, and I put my hand up to getting attached to coins, I am attached to some of my coins because I literally believe in the use case of it and where it's going. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it does make it harder to let go of some of those things. But if you can see it, that's the first step. Like, whether this was the first step of AA, like an alcoholic must realize they're an alcoholic, because we're all in denial about something. So the first time you can see it, it makes a big difference. Richard, do you have any pointers to add on that when it comes to exiting and selling and strategy?
I always try and zoom right out again. I think, when you're at the start of your journey, it's like Joey said, it's just a case of getting in, getting started. But once you're in and your awareness develops, then you'll start buying more, and it'll become a bigger part of your life, and it'll become a bigger part of your portfolio, and you'll have your own reasons for being in those particular coins, as you've just said, whether it's belief or investment or all these different things. But I think it's at that point then it's really understanding the difference between some of those cryptos, because you'll want personally different strategies potentially around the different cryptos you've got. For example, Bitcoin, my strategy is I just want to hold on to as much Bitcoin. I want to buy as much Bitcoin as I possibly can, because I believe in it long term. I believe in the democratization of it. I believe that it's the soundest money that any of us can possibly own. So I've got my own belief structure around Bitcoin. But as you come down those coins and you want to be investing a smaller part of your portfolio into, say, more obscure altcoins, you can still really believe in that project, and that should be a reason that you might invest in that. But have they got the longer term potential as Bitcoin? Have they got the safety? Yeah, sure, the upside is greater, but you've got to be willing, I think, to let those go, or certainly at least try and get your original profit out. I mean, that's the golden rule in most of this is for, anything out of the top 5, in my opinion, should be, you should try and strategize as some sort of exit plan. Now that is harder to do, and there's a whole other call around building exit plans around different coins, but it is a very, very personal thing, and you can become attached to those things. So you do need to zoom out and think, well, once you've got more of a substantial portfolio is thinking, why am I in this? And your awareness will just start to grow around that, and you'll be able to make easier and easier decisions. So it is a confidence trick for sure. It really is about confidence and understanding. But again, it sounds more complicated than it is. I never want to be the person putting people off getting investing. You know, everyone just needs to get started and build that confidence. And the more time you spend in the space, then the more you feel confident in your own actions, and you can form your own opinions, because everyone on this call will have slightly different strategies around what they're in, which ones they're buying, and which ones they're in. So yeah, that would be my summation.
I think it's one of these things to pull all that together as well, is that it's best sometimes, you can read all you want about driving a car, but until you get behind the wheel and set off on that little building estate thing and actually like clunk the car forward a little bit, that's when you start to learn to drive. So it's like, buy a little bit, do whatever your minimum needs to do. Me and Richard were talking about this for something we're looking to pull together, like just buy something and let the coffee start to drop and then expand it out. And because it is it's like, even right now, most people still wouldn't be able to explain the internet to their granddad or a great granddad. So trying to understand crypto sometimes, it's just, for me, it never ends. And I love that journey. But the session I had today with someone, they do not want to understand crypto. And they've made that conscious decision. They just want to put some of their money into crypto, which is totally cool. So it's like, don't let the desire to want to understand it stop you doing something about it. You know, I drive a car. I don't really know how a car works. I have a rough gauge and idea. I've got no idea how these things work. And crypto's a little bit like that. So definitely started off and understand at some point you'll be wanting to sell as well. So I just want to come to a question Lisa asked, but I have asked for a bit more clarity, Lisa. Lisa said, I'm trying to switch from being plan A trader to an investor and adding plan B investing. Now, I have my interpretation of what that means, but unless I know that you're at least live in the chat, can you say hello if you're in there and can hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, even better. Lisa, do you want to just give us, if you can just reframe your question a little bit, just so it's nice and clear?
Yeah, I was referring to RPB. So I discovered crypto. You started following it last summer, and then a friend, I joined a Telegram group. A friend in the Telegram groups mentioned RPB. So I was doing all traditional trading and investing and did the RPB, and now I have started getting into crypto. So, but I'm really trying to get out of the ever so time consuming trading and more into investing. But I've bought into what Simon has said in RPB. And RPB is Retirement Plan B, and it's a course by Simon Dixon.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so thank you, Lisa. Myself and Richard have done RPB and are on that as well. So we're cool with that. Oh, Letitia's asking what RPB is. So Retirement Plan B, it's basically a Bitcoin-centered retirement plan. So where Lisa talks about Plan A would be, call it traditional finance. Stocks, EFTs, index funds, all of these things are Plan A tools, and they've been around for a long time. Plan B, to use Simon's terminology, is crypto and Bitcoin, but specifically with RPB, there's a heavy emphasis on Bitcoin. The general goal being, over the course of a retirement period, accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can. Stack sats, that's it. So for new people here, sats is short for Satoshis, and 100 million Satoshis makes one Bitcoin. Is it 100 million? No, 99 million. Someone correct me. 80. It's 8 zeros, isn't it?
Is it? I was just using an analogy. Yeah, I was using the analogy of a Bitcoin is a pound, or a dollar, and the Satoshi is a cent or a pence. It's just a unit of, you know, the
Smaller
big
measurement.
domain. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know the actual number actually.
I'm pretty certain there's 8 zeros after
100 million.
100 million.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so 9 zeros then.
No,
100
that's
million.
8. That's 8.
Okay, well we'll find this one afterwards. So stack sats, that's what that means. Stacking sats. It's like stacking pennies and cents until you get more. So that's RPB. I'm okay, thank you very much. And so Lisa, when you've said switching, like when you want to switch from being a plan A trader to an investor, do you mean switching to a plan A investor, or do you just mean going from plan A into plan B?
Okay, so going from being a plan A trader, which is what I'm doing mostly now, to switching my plan A to more investing instead of trading, and then adding plan B investing.
So what's stopping you? You said, you know, you're finding it difficult. What are you finding difficult?
I'm finding it difficult to stop trading. I keep trading. Sorry, that's the market closing. I have a problem, you know. So yeah, it's hard to get out of the mindset of trading because I do a lot of put selling, and so I'm always looking to sell some puts, and then, you know, it's just, I think what you get used to and you just keep doing it, and then now, okay, I want to invest. What am I going to invest in? So it's just a big switch, and I think I'm doing better on the plan B side because I never have traded crypto. I've never traded Bitcoin. I don't do any of the alts. I've bought into Simon's, thesis that Bitcoin is the main thing and everything else hasn't been proven out. So if you're an investor, then Bitcoin is what you would invest in. So that I've bought some. I'm still getting my Roth IRA set up and, you know, all that stuff. But outside of that, I've started buying some Bitcoin and have started dollar cost averaging in and doing that. And I find that's easier because it was a blank slate. Yeah. But the switch in the plan A is more difficult. And the other thing I did not have in my plan A is the precious metals. I don't have precious metals. So that's the other thing I'm looking at adding into my plan A.
So a question then, just to expand on the addiction. Are you addicted to the profit? Or are you addicted to the fact that that's how you fill your day, and it's the ritualness of trading? Which bit are you addicted to, or more, or both?
I think it's the fear of making a mistake and investing in the wrong stuff.
But if I'm trying to, well, I'll say what I'm thinking because I can't think of a way to ask a question around it. But if and I can only say this for the RPB stuff, the crypto stuff. If you're making X return per month on trading stocks with, you know, you put in this much energy in and you're getting this much return. If you could start to see that over in the crypto world, would that help you to go, oh, I don't need to put as much effort in. The amount of effort I used to put in, I don't need to put as much of that into. Would that help?
Yeah, I think I'm perfectly willing to stop trading because it is time consuming and I have a business to run, and I'd prefer not spending half hour to an hour a day, sometimes more, doing that. I would rather just say, okay, I have a plan. Here's what I'm going to invest in, and then just run the plan. That's part of what I liked about the RPB was this idea of it's automated, and you know, you put X amount in each month and it's automatically invested for you based on your plan. I think because I don't have a plan, I just keep doing what I've always done. So if I had a plan on the plan A side where I'm going to put X amount in, you know, X amount in precious metals and these stocks or ETFs, you know, if I had that plan, then I could execute it. But short of the plan, I'm doing what I've always done. I just keep trading. And I'm not addicted to the trading itself. I mean, sometimes I think it's cool or, you know, but I think it's more that I do want to get out of it. I'd like to just say, oh, I have a portfolio, it runs. I'm okay giving up the trading. I just don't know what to invest in, like how to create that plan.
Yeah, so the trading provides safety because you're making a decision to get in, a decision to get out. Therefore, am I right in saying the mental thought process of investing in something for a period of time requires more trust in yourself, I suppose, and your belief, because it's going to be left for a long time. So it's like trading is safer.
Yeah, it's like I need to have a plan. I don't have a plan. If I don't have a plan, what am I investing in? It's just total throwing stuff at a dartboard. So I think because I don't have a plan, I don't make the conversion. So I've been kind of in limbo. I just keep trading. I try to limit it to a half hour a day, but I notice like sometimes it's much more than that.
Okay. Well, I can't give you my opinion of plan A stuff. But I can definitely say from a plan B perspective, well, from a crypto perspective, because I think I speak for Richard here, we agree with Simon's view of Bitcoin being the main one and Ethereum. Simon's view, for everyone on this call, his view is that the only coins worth really putting your money in long term are coins which have told the market that are regulated, we're here, we're not going anywhere, we actually have use cases and we are being used fully. Mm-hmm. Every other coin is a varying degree of speculation. And so from Simon's perspective, there's just Bitcoin and Ethereum, which there's no space in RPB for any of these other coins. And a lot of you people on this call, once you've bought Bitcoin and Ethereum, the natural progression is to you start hearing things about Chainlink and Cardano and, like it or love it, XRP and all these other ones. And so I think that I'm more than happy to share, and I have shared multiple times, my portfolio, my splits between coins. I'm sure Richard's cool with that. Jerry, you may wish to as well. And also some a narrative sometimes behind, why I pick these. And that all I can do is share where I come from. And that might help you to formulate your own retirement plan, crypto plan, because then at least you can start to put some money into it. But when it comes to the A side, moving from trading to investing and what to hold, my only 2 pence on that is like, I do not believe in the long-term future of the stock market. So my view probably might not be what you want to hear necessarily, but I'm a massive proponent of crypto. And I think that the stock market is pegged too much to the dollar or too much to fiat currencies. And over the course of time, every fiat currency has collapsed. And so we are overextended currently. If we look at how long fiat currency, that's pounds, dollars, sterling, all this sort of stuff, how long that's lasted for, we're past the point where it should have collapsed by now. And we start to look at the inflation and everything. So for me, stocks are high risk long term. So if someone was to talk about investing into stocks, my 2 Satoshis worth of information would be hesitancy.
And I think I generally agree with that sentiment, which is why I don't have a plan. And so I haven't switched to investing. I do have a crypto question though. I did sign up to Bank to the Future, and I became a qualified investor, or I forget whatever they call it. So I can invest there, but there's not enough instructions to know how to do that. And I think because I'm a US resident, I can't buy the tokens to do that. So it's not clear, like, okay, so I'm in there, now what? Like, I have no idea how to invest in anything.
For people new on the call, Bank to the Future is a platform where you buy stocks, actual stocks in crypto companies. So a crypto company comes along and he's selling shares, and you can buy those shares. Sorry, shares, not stocks. You can buy those shares. And then he also, as Bank to the Future, collects all those companies, wraps them up into a wrapper, and then you buy shares in this entity, this structure that is an amalgamation of lots of other crypto companies, so that you can, a bit like Omar talked earlier about index funds. That way you only need 1 or 2 to do really well and the whole fund does well. So that's a traditional way with shares of getting exposure to the crypto market. However, if you're a US citizen, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa can't do anything. She's not allowed legally to buy them. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the way they deal with securities and everything, isn't it, basically? So yeah, I think you're a little bit limited with, I think you can do it because they're still primary market, aren't they? Not secondary market. And I believe once they release their secondary market funds or options, basically, you'll be able to get involved in that, I believe, is how it works. So it's changed over time with the Americans, but it is very difficult. It's much more restrictive, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So Lisa, I know that's not maybe what you wanted to hear, but that's just unfortunately where I'm getting a lot of feedback. That's come. That's just where that's at the minute. In terms of the world, the USA is one of the most, especially when it comes to crypto or anything in this, or even securities and shares, it's one of the most heaviest regulations. And there's just a lot more hoops to jump through. So there's nothing you can do really from an RPB Bank to the Future perspective. But in terms of getting a plan together for what you can do in crypto, because you've got to remember that the RPB solution with the mandate and everything, it's going to take a while. I mean, I would be surprised if it were ready in 6 months. And you may wish to go back to some of the early conversations that you might not have heard. This bull run that we're in, this period of natural growth in the crypto market will expire. And so you may choose to take some action and build some sort of a plan before waiting for the RPB mandate to get ready.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps, Lisa.
Thank you much.
Cool. Jerry says, though, to look into Grayscale. Well, so Grayscale's buying is traditional exposure to crypto coins. Bank to the Future is traditional exposure to crypto companies. So there's a slight difference between the two. Yeah. So he was an early investor in Kraken, Coinbase, Celsius. And so when these companies come to market, he's one of their mechanisms for reaching out to investors to invest with traditional fiat currency.
Can I just say, I just posted in the chat Live Coin Watch. It's a website that is very similar to CoinMarketCap. I personally find it easier to get quick information from it, livecoinwatch.com. It's a listing of all the cryptocurrencies. Right at the very top, and I put it on night scale, it's got a pleasant look. I just find CoinMarketCap is too scattered. I can't find what I want to find. There's a very quick customized button so that you can go in, you can highlight 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month percentage gains. I think I highlight them all for whenever I click on a coin. I say that because I'd like people to go there if they can quickly customize the whole list of coins so that they can see from 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month. Oh, great. If you look right above the word, customize, go down to deltas, up, 24, go 7 day and 30 day. You can do 90 day if you want to. Actually I would, do 90. Okay, and then also on the Delta page, you can reduce some of the, you can take off liquidity, see liquidity. Just that's not good. That's too much for people. But everything else is good. Everything else is good. So on this page, you'll very quickly be able to see. Now you can grab the word weekly and drag it to the right so that all your just grab weekly at the top. There's a graph there. Yeah. Grab the word and just drag it over. I would go the other way.
I'm just messing with it. This is also the site that Digital Asset News uses, and I caught it on one video because he talks about this sentiment and how, I think this is the site because it looks a bit like it, and it shows how many people are talking about something. So you can click on Twitter, for example.
Oh, I see.
And actually, so
I've never shown those columns, and to me right now, I would shut them off because it gets in the way of the price. Anytime that you click on an individual coin, you can quickly go to that coin's Twitter, Telegram page. But if you go back to customization and click off all of those social, yeah, so click, yeah, then you'll be much more price centric. And then what I also do is I take market cap, volume, and weekly, and I put them all on the right side of the page so that the market gains are right beside the coins. And this exercise, believe it or not, folks, is worth it because we can see like a 30-day sentiment here of basically the crypto market. Now, you must have clicked something around coin because you're starting at coin 3000. Maybe, yeah.
We want market cap.
If you click market cap, yeah. Okay, that gets us back in the order again. Now, just find the 30-day column, everybody, and you're looking at gains of 30%, 40%.
Jerry, I'm going to let you carry on. So you just have a courtesy break for a minute, so please do continue. 1 second.
Okay, I can't control the screen at this point, but just looking at this is perfect in as much as it's the top 10 cryptos, right? We're looking at 30-day gains. The worst is DOT at 3. There's a couple that have gone down over the month, a little bit, but gosh, look at some of these gains, 60, 30, 20%. These are the top 10 cryptos. If you was to scroll down to, the next 10 and see what kinds of monthly gains those are having, we'd find that, we talk about FOMO coming into the market. This isn't like a daily FOMO of missing out, but if we're talking about an investment portfolio that's roughly going up 10% in a month, safely, depending on which coins you're buying, then it's a pretty safe.
Yeah.
That the trend is going upward, right?
I mean, it even say, Jerry. I mean, you're probably keeping on Bitcoin a lot with Bitcoin last week. I mean, or last week and a half, it's had a drop. It dropped. It's just only just gone back up again. But even on that 90-day across where it's dropped, you've still got that 100%, plus gain there, right? So when we talk about getting started, you cannot go wrong with these like Bitcoin and Ethereum, really. I mean, Ethereum, there's question marks around it at the moment in terms of the usability of it and the speed and the transactions that are happening on there. But I mean, as you say, Bitcoin, 100% gains over 3 months, and that's been in a time where it's really, really dropped 20 to 30% from its all-time high. So yeah, it's a really good illustration.
I'd just like to mention another resource that people should write down.
Go for it.
It's CoinGecko. It's like, so when you get started in the space, you'll be looking. Well, it tells you the leaderboards like this other website, but when you get deeper in the space, you'll be looking at different altcoins and everything, doing more research. So it's good to look on this site and also see what exchanges they're on.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not always going to be on your Binances and your Coinbase. Some of the gems are on the low, on some other exchanges that aren't well known. So it's good to know that where they are, where you can buy it, where the most volume is, and all this, et cetera. But what I was going to say,
one thing is,
if you're from another country that doesn't allow you to get onto an exchange, like Americans can't get on Binance, you can use a VPN and access the exchange from those countries where it's not usually allowed.
Yeah.
And you can get in there before it does get onto an American exchange. Like some coins get listed on Coinbase after Binance, etc. Like Cardano got listed on Coinbase after Binance. So yeah, that's what.
When did Cardano get listed on Coinbase? That must have been recently, surely.
Yeah, that's recently. It went.
Wow.
It didn't even explode either. It stayed pretty much at the same market cap. It didn't even.
Hang on, Coinbase Professional or Coinbase Retail?
The professional one's the main one, isn't it? Or is it?
No. So Coinbase Pro.
Yeah.
Most people are on Coinbase, and then
Yeah.
Coinbase Pro is for like actual traders and investors, whereas Coinbase is not. So what usually happens with Coinbase is they list on Coinbase Pro, wait till they have enough liquidity, or this is my belief anyway, and then eventually go on Coinbase. And the explosions you see, the really big ones, are when it gets listed on Coinbase. So if I go, because I was on Coinbase.
You was on
I'm
sure it was
cool.
The main one.
Let's have a look. Well, let's have a see anyway. I'll have a look whilst we're carrying on. So thank you very much for that, Tarath. Yeah, so there's a few. So the one that Jerry just said, the one that Tarath said, they're all useful. A lot of them do have a lot of cross uses between them all. But it's just good to know about these things, because if you want to expand out and you're on your early stages of crypto and you're looking at other coins, go to these sites and have a look. Whether you're looking at how much, what's its growth been this year, you may be interested in how generally, like how many people are talking about something. That's a useful metric. It's not a given because it can be skewed completely with bots and all sorts of stuff, but it's an indication as well. And you're always welcome within FLT, like some people have been doing this week, to just ask the question, who's heard of this coin? What do people know about it? And it's all part of your own due diligence process to make a decision on what you want to invest in. Some people will mirror other people that they trust. Some people will go out there and literally go to the nth degree to make their own decisions and things. And all of these processes are have their own perspective of truth to them. There's no categorical one way you should do something. We do have time for another question if you want, before we kind of start to wrap it up. It's an open forum, so anything can.
Josh has asked a question in the chat.
Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, Tirath, I just. Let's have a look. Where's the chat? Josh, okay. When are you looking at new crypto invest? When you're looking at new crypto investments, how do you value the coin? What do you look for? For example, how do you identify good from bad coins? How do you value that coin in stocks you can use intrinsic value? Okay, cool. So we'll all have different views here, I would imagine. So we covered this. We did a call the other week on identifying gems and what to look for. First things that kind of come to mind for me is, first and foremost, utility. What's the coin? What's the coin for? What problem is the coin solving? And usually the bigger the problem, the bigger the potential reward of that coin. But then they're the only people solving that problem. If there is someone else trying to solve that problem, what makes this coin different? So really you're looking at, like, why is this coin in existence? Because if I can't answer that question, I'm not really that bothered about getting invested in it. And that's a value I hold. So I'd look at what's the coin solving, and then fundamentally, who are the people behind the coin, which is the team. And if it is a coin I'm not aware of, how dodgy is that team? Because there's a lot, it's an unregulated market, it's crypto. If you're really looking at gems, you need to answer that question, because there's a lot of YouTubers who will shill a coin. For the new people on here, shilling is pitching, selling. It's, no, it's not. It's me talking about a coin in an overly positive manner in order to influence you to buy that coin, because I have millions of people listening to me as an authority figure. And they might be paid to shill that coin. They might have a vested interest, meaning they bought when it was really low. They know when they shill it to you, you'll buy, and then they'll sell. So really understanding that for me is important. Like how much, what's the team behind it? What's the use case? And what's the, how much do I think that coin is fake? Does that, I hope that kind of makes sense. That would be my first few things to look at. Richard, what else would you throw into the mix there?
I mean, yeah, I think first and foremost, it's always where does it sit in your portfolio? Because if you're starting out, then anything that isn't Bitcoin, even Ethereum, I think, then it depends where they sit in in the portfolio. I think as you go lower down, you also want to be looking at market cap. So if you're looking for, if you look and how long you want to keep it for, is it an investment, or is it an investment a long term, or is it an investment to sort of gain some make some quicker gains, basically? So you'd want to be looking at market cap. So in that instance, you'd be looking at something with a couple of million market cap, that's got a lot of space to grow. If it is a coin that's been around for a while, then some coins from 2 or 3 years ago that have launched, that have weathered the bear market over the last few years, you can use the columns that we saw on CoinGecko and the other one, Live Coin Watch, is it, and see what the previous all-time highs were. And as we're going into the bull market now, they should all at least be able to reach their all-time high, so you can sort of see where they're going to go. In terms of being able to see whether they're bad or good, I mean, what you're looking at there is how visible is the team? Are they doing videos? Is there a really active Telegram group that you can look at? You can't always tell, unfortunately. You really can't always tell, but it's really about how visible they are, and also how far along they are on their roadmap. If you're choosing a coin, you'll be able to go and look at the website, and usually there'll be their white paper, which outlines what it is they're trying to achieve, the problems they're trying to solve, and then on another part of the website, there'll be their sort of basically a timeline, right? And it tells you what their plans are and whether they're hitting those targets or not. And that tells you how, what level of adoption there is, what partnerships they might have that's sort of generating a lot of interest. So it's really the tailwind that's behind the company, really. And then once it gets past a certain point, they have different phases where they'll have different sort of parts of their launch which are taking them closer and closer to actual utility, to actually deliver on what they're promising, basically. So it is there's a lot to sort of take in there, I guess, but if you're going to research any sort of company, then these are the things you would look at, and it's not really any different, really. It's track record and people. That's really what you're looking for, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would agree with that, and it kind of comes back to Josh, because it doesn't really say it. It says, if you're looking at new crypto investments, to pick on Chris, just in this example, Chris has got a full portfolio and he's looking to put 5% into crypto, which according to his risk profile, crypto is high risk. So that will influence what he invests in crypto, because if crypto is high risk, then some random obscure shitcoin, as we call it, some random small market cap gem would be like super, super, super high risk. So Chris might be looking at the crypto portfolio and going, right, I want to put my money into things which are stable, going to stand the test of time as best as I can, and will give me a return, but are safe within crypto. For someone that's got 80% of their portfolio in crypto, they're going to look at coins that maybe Chris won't look at. There you go, Jerry, myself a little bit. And so when we're looking at crypto investments, some of the stuff Richard was saying there is like, when you're going to look at gems, the ones that are going to have, 1,000, 10,000% return in a year or two, you're going to judge those coins and look for those coins using totally different metrics than if you're looking for safe coins. You're going to have a very different viewpoint. And so it's the further, because where Richard began is, where does it sit in your portfolio? And make that decision. So I have a certain allocation of my funds for, as close to gambling as you can get, educated gambling, because it is a gamble, and I'm hedging my bets. Same as VCs, they'll invest in 10 companies. They only need one company to do well, and they've got explosive gains. But that is a small bit of a whole pot, and I will judge those differently. So really think about, Josh, when you're putting your money in, basically the first question is, how much risk am I willing to take for this amount of money? Because then that will dictate which bit of the market you're going into, and then that will dictate what questions you ask. So I hope that kind of helps to just put some light on that, because we're just getting to the end now. And I just want to say thank you to Michael Blankenship. I know we've not had a chance to bring you in, Michael, but there's some really good comments you put in the chat. And if people do use Coinbase, because it is really expensive, and you are trading, then you can move over to Coinbase Pro. So it's good to note that. But my personal view is get off Coinbase in every capacity that you can. However, if Coinbase is the only place you can buy that's easy and works for you, you know, carry on Coinbase, that works. So for everyone that is new and everyone that's old on here, either way around, I just want to say thank you. We've run late and over on the last few calls, so I want to make sure we're definitely wrapping this up in here. If there's one thing I would reiterate from this whole call, and it was picked up at the very beginning and it's run all the way through, if you haven't got into crypto and you're not investing yet, like, make that first step with a sum that you're comfortable with. Like, get in there, wet your fingers, wet your toes a little bit, and have a play around, and then make a decision on, where does crypto fit in my life of investments? Is it just a small part? Is it a big part? Because you'll ask different questions from that, but I can't reiterate enough how much things are changing, how much this is bigger than the internet. Jerry made a comment that it's bigger than calculus. I'd love to understand the depth of that comment, but I'll be honest, I don't. But I get that the fact that that's a comment tells me that calculus was a really big thing that impacted life. And so it's whatever analogy we want to take. Crypto is not going away. Will evolve and it will change. But it really, there has never been a time like this. It is the, as we reiterate many times, it is the greatest transference of wealth. As this market cap of crypto goes bigger and bigger and bigger, from 1 trillion to 2 to 10 trillion, that money does not come from you and me. It comes from big institutions getting in. That means money moving from the wealth and the haves for generations and generations into a brand new pot. And we have an opportunity right now to have a small slice of that pot. And so that's why it's the greatest transference of wealth. And that's why it really is just something to understand, that you're so early to this game, even though you think you're in this call and the ship might have sailed. When we have to limit this call because there's literally hundreds of people that want to join, the floodgates are starting to open. You know, there's 20 of us at best on this call. Yeah, we're super early, guys. So just really take that on board. If you've got any questions, the group is an open space. Ask whatever questions. If you feel you can answer, please answer other people. There's no right or wrong answers. We're all in there to just help and to share. So from myself and from Richard, who put on these calls together, we said thank you very much. Next call is the same time next week. Topic, if you've got topics you want to discuss, throw them into the group. We probably will have a topic for next week. So thank you from myself. Thanks to everyone else who showed up. Thank you to the new people, the existing people. Go and do whatever you need to do to move yourself forward. Be cool, be calm, be kind to yourself and to others. Don't FOMO. Stay cool with it all, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Bye.